This week, Sandro Tonali was charged with misconduct by the FA for alleged breaching of betting rules. The Newcastle midfielder is currently serving a 10-month ban issued by the Italian Football Federation in October for breaking betting rules in his home country. And yesterday, the Magpies boss Eddie Howe had this to say about Tonali.
Sandro, from day one, cooperated and was very honest with the club, with us, with the authorities, and what he had done and the issues that he had. So yesterday was no surprise. Obviously, it may have been a surprise externally for other people to hear this news, but we've been supporting him through this process. I certainly hope for Sandro that there is no further consequences. He has suffered during this period. He has sought help. He's been very honest. He's admitted he has an issue, and I think the best thing for Sandro would be to resume his career, having taken his punishment and having learnt a lot of lessons from this.
Just to clarify then, the FA alleges Tonali broke its betting rules by placing 50 bets on matches between the 12th of August and October the 12th whilst playing for Newcastle. Eddie Howe there saying, look, he's already going through a 10-month ban. It's, for him, quite a lengthy ban. Does he have a point about should he be punished further?
Well, he's 23 years old, so he's not like a senior pro of 27, 28, 29. He knows he's made a mistake. He's made a big one. 10 months, I thought, was a very severe ban because, you know, it's always difficult because you never know the detail of the bets, which I always think is very important.
Yes.
It feels more like, to me, from what I've read, that he's been betting and there's a bit more of an addiction there. He's not just his collusion or his conflict of interest. And people will say, well, there is conflict of interest. He's a professional footballer and he's betting in games. But having, ultimately, the ability to make profit from news he knows, inside information. So I'll give him a second chance on it. And not just me, but I think football should.
Yeah, I'm sure
because I think it's the fair way to go. Everyone makes mistakes. We've all been there, made errors.
Very briefly, if he is found guilty of this charge by the FA, the punishment that they hand down, it could be a variety of things. It could be a suspended ban. We have seen that with certain individuals who have been in a similar situation. It could be an extension to the ban that he's currently going through, or it could be a concurrent ban. What would you say? Well,
I would like them to say to him, look, we understand what you've did, and it's wrong. You've been punished. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but if you're ever in front of us again, your ban will be so severe that you will not be betting again.
Right.
Okay? You've given him the warning. If you're ever in front of us again for this same issue, it will be doubly bad for you. I'd like to see that sort of logic implied here.
Okay, so obviously he's not available until the new season. Before that, Newcastle have the small matter today of West Ham, both clubs aiming for European football. So let's look ahead to this one. And joining us on co-commentary for us, it's the former West Ham and England striker, Dean Ashton. Dean, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Dean.
Good morning. Yes, very well, thank you.
It's a difficult question maybe in some ways, but who do you think a win would be more important for today?
No, I think they're both in a very similar position. They're both still striving for Europe. I think probably for Newcastle to close the gap on West Ham with that game in hand feels quite important. But it feels like these two managers in particular are constantly under pressure at the moment. So, you know, they'll both feel as if a win today would be a welcome result and maybe a tiny bit of pressure taken away.
Dean, look, they both got injury problems. I mean, say both. Newcastle's are way worse than West Ham's. But the one shining light for West Ham is Paqueta being back. And watching him against England, and obviously I watched him against Spain, you know, people talk about the style of West Ham. When he's in West Ham's team, and like he is when he's in Brazil's side, what a flair player he is.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. And it actually surprised me a little bit just how much they missed him when he wasn't there. I think maybe you could now look at that squad and think, actually, they could do without lots of other players, but not him. I think he is the link between that midfield and the forward line, especially with the way that David Moyes likes to play. I think he's vital that when they do win the ball back, they have a player like him that's so good on the ball, got great vision, and actually he's physically very, very strong. When you watch him, rarely gets pushed off the ball, and can just hold it with enough time to allow the team to get up the pitch. So, and he's got that star quality. He brings things that West Ham fans absolutely love, which is that bit of magic.
In terms of Newcastle in 2024, they are a side that guarantee goals. That's whether it's goals scored or goals conceded. In 9 games in 2024, 45 goals have been scored. So that's 22 for Newcastle, 23 against. So you're going to get hopefully some entertainment, Dino, looking ahead to this one. So what are you expecting from these two sides?
Well, I think obviously Newcastle are much better at home, and actually West Ham are better away. So again, yeah, I would expect a terrific game. It's got a bit of Keegan ball about it, hasn't it? In this season, anyway, for Eddie Howe. I think the injuries for Newcastle have maybe forced his hand slightly, because the defensive record hasn't been there as it was. I mean, last year defensively, I thought they looked as strong as anyone in the league, whereas this season that's such a massive contrast. I feel like that has to be partly down to the injuries, but West Ham will come. They'll make it difficult. They'll sit there as they do so often, and they'll be really, really dangerous on the break, which is where actually Newcastle have looked quite vulnerable. I remember watching them against Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest caused them a lot of problems. Again, it's going to be key. Is Trippier fit? Is he going to play? Obviously, is it Lascelles that comes in for Botman, or does Byrne go to centre back, and who's going to play left back? So there are a few questions, I think, still around the fitness of certain players for Newcastle.
All right, well, Dean, enjoy it. Thank you.
Cheers, Dino.
I certainly will. Thank you.
That was a look at today's top sporting events, all thanks to The Sun. You can listen in, by the way, for full live commentary of that game right here on talkSPORT. Kickoffs at 12:30. And follow all the match action and breaking news on The Sun live blogs at thesun.co.uk.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.